Good morning, students. Myself, K. Lakshmi, Assistant Professor in Chevrolet Engineering College. Today, the first chapter, interference. Now, in this chapter, we discuss about these points: introduction, interference, types of interference, conditions for interference, and interference in thin films by reflection. Now, first, what is the interference of light? When two light waves are superimposed, then the resultant amplitude or intensity in the region of superimposition is different than the amplitude of individual waves. That means whenever two light waves are superimposed, then a new wave is formed. That new wave have different amplitude and different intensity. This is nothing but interference of light. According to definition, this may be also defined as the modification in the distribution of intensity in the region of superposition is known as interference. Okay. So here in the 17th century, the properties of light were first explained by the scientist Sir Isaac Newton and also Huygens. According to Sir Isaac Newton's, he introduced or he explained the properties basing on corpuscular theory in 1675. It explains the properties of light like reflection, refraction, and dispersion properties of light. But still, it is failed to explain the properties of interference, diffraction, polarization, photoelectric effect, and double refraction. In 1679, Huygens proposed another theory, which is named as Huygens wave theory. According to this theory, each point on the wavefront. So what is the wavefront? I will explain that. For example, this is the light source, and these are the light waves coming from the light source. They are named as simply wavefronts. So according to Huygens wave theory, each and every point in the wavefront creates secondary wavefronts. So by the superimposition of these secondary wavefronts, a new wave is formed. So that is the interference. So by taking this as a postulator, he explains about some more properties of light, that is reflection, refraction, dispersion, double refraction, diffraction, interference, and polarization properties of light. But still it is fails to explain the properties of light like photoelectric effect and black body radiation. So in case of interference, there are two types of interference are there. They are constructive interference and destructive interference. So let us discuss briefly about these types of interference. The first one is constructive interference. The waves are reaching at a point or in phase, then constructive interference occurs. In constructive interference, the resultant amplitude is always equal to the sum of the amplitudes of individual waves. That means, so here in this diagram, we have wave 1 and wave 2. By the superimposition of these two waves, this is the resultant wave. So here, the path difference between the two waves is equal to the integral multiple of wavelength lambda, that is constructive interference occurs. So here, what is the path difference? That means path is nothing but light traveled distance. So what is the path difference between these two waves? That is called path difference. Here, this path difference is equivalent to n lambda Now, another one is destructive interference. The waves are reaching at a point or in out of phase, whereas so here in constructive difference, waves are in phase, but whereas in destructive interference, waves are out of phase. So simply, when you observe this figure here, so these are named as crust and troughs. By observing wave 1 and wave 2, the crust of wave 1 is formed at trough of wave 2. That means they are simply out of phase. So whenever light waves are out of phase, then destructive interference occurs. Whereas in constructive interference, you observe these figures, the crust of one wave is exactly formed at the crust of another wave, and similarly, the trough of one wave is formed at the trough of another wave. That means simply these two waves are said to be in phase. So that means whenever the waves are in phase, constructive interference occurs. When the waves are in out of phase, destructive interference is occurring. Now briefly discuss about what is the destructive interference. In destructive interference, the resultant amplitude is always equal to the difference of the amplitude of two individual waves. So whenever the waves are in out of phase, so this is the representation of resultant wave. When you observe the constructive wave, when the light waves are in phase, this is the resultant wave. But whereas in destructive interference, the waves are in out of phase, so the resultant wave is like this. So then what is the path difference in this case is simply the path difference is equivalent to odd integral multiple of lambda by 2. Here, odd integral is represented by the notation 2n minus 1, where n is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. If odd multiple is also represented in the notation 2n plus 1, here n is starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So when you follow any material or any textbook, the representation may be in 2n minus 1 or in 2n plus 1. There is no problem. So we have to select 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 or 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. The mainly minus or plus depends upon the n value. If in case the path difference is, if in case the path difference is 2n minus 1, then n starts from 1, 2, 3. That means n starts from 1. If in case we choose 2n plus 1 lambda by 2, here the n starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So this is the briefly about types of interference. That means there are two types of interference. One is constructive interference. Another one is destructive interference. And we also here discuss the how the destructive and constructive interference are representation, their notation, and their path differences also. Now, and the next type is here types of interference formation. That means in the last slide we discussed about the types of interference, but here how the interference is formed. Basing on that point, again interference is splitting into two types. So for the formation of interference pattern, two coherent light sources are required. This is very important point. So interference pattern need two coherent light sources. So to get two coherent light sources from a single light source, there are two techniques are used. That means I will explain with by drawing. Okay. So for example, this is a bulb. Now here these are the light rays coming from the bulb. Okay. Actually, this is the one light source and these are the light waves. But whenever we use a two slits in the way of these light waves direction, again here the light waves is splitting into two light sources. So like that. So here this is one light source and this one is another light source. But these two light sources are coming from one light source. So that's why these two sources are simply named as two coherent sources which are emitted by single light source. So basing on this point, again techniques are classified into two types. That is division of wavefront and division of amplitude. The first one is division of wavefront. The wavefront from a single light source is divided into two parts by using the phenomena of reflection, refraction, or diffraction. So the best example for a division of wavefront is Young's double slit experiment. So whatever here I draw the diagram is a best example for division of wavefront. So I will again, this will be draw. So for example, this is the bulb and these are the wavefronts. Whenever there is two slits here, when these wavefront incident on it, again here at the slits, different wavefronts are formed. So these are the two slits. That means single wavefront is splits into two wavefronts by using this slit S1 and another slit S2. Okay. So this type of splitting of wavefront is nothing but division of wavefront. So the best example for division of wavefront is Young's double slit experiment. Now another type of division of amplitude. So what is the division of amplitude? So the amplitude of single slit light beam is divided into two parts by parallel reflection or refraction. So here Newton's rings experiment. So here Newton's rings experiment we do in our laboratory. It will be clearly observed how the division of amplitude pattern is formed. So simply these are the two types of interference. Actually, this is not in our syllabus, but we have to know some idea about this type of interference. Now the next conditions for interference. This is a very important question as according to our exam point of view. So for occurring good interference pattern, there are some conditions. Let us discuss these conditions for obtaining good interference pattern. The first point is two light sources emitting light waves should be coherent. So what is the meaning of coherent? Coherence means light sources having same frequency, same phase, and same wavelength. So simply they are said to be coherence. So in interference pattern, they need a coherent light sources. And the second point is the two sources must be emit continuous light waves of same wavelength or same frequency. For example, here so here it is the light source. Okay. Now from this light source, these are the light waves. Compulsory we denote the light rays by an arrows because they are vector quantities. So this is the, for example, screen. Okay. Now the separation here, we need two light sources because it is a interference. Okay, so these are the two waves which are originated from the two light sources, like that. So here it is a source. That means, for example, L1, light L1, and it is another light L2. So at a distance, there is a screen. Okay. So when you observe the screen, by the superimposition of these two waves, here on the screen, there are dark and bright fringes are observed. Dark and bright fringes are observed. So the main point is the separation between the two sources should be small. That means whenever you take two light sources, the separation between these two light sources must be small. Why? In the process of superimposition, it is very good condition. Why? Because when these light sources are in a far distance, then the resultant superimposition is very bad condition. We cannot observe the clear image on the screen. So, in case of coherence, in case of interference, the two light sources must be in a near distance, and the separation is very small, and also these sources should be narrow. That means very, very small. Okay. And the next one is to view the interference fringe, the background should be dark. That's why in our laboratory, whenever we do light experiment, we have to done in a dark room, because to observe the clear pattern of interference, the surroundings should be dark. So this is also very, very important condition for obtaining good interference pattern. That is, to view the interference fringes, the background should be dark. And the next point is the amplitude of light waves should be equal or nearly equal. Already I said that when the light waves are coherent, that means they have same frequency, same amplitude, and the same wavelength. That is the condition of coherence. So the amplitude of light waves should be equal or nearly equal. And the next point is the sources should be narrow. And another last point is the sources should be monochromatic. What is the meaning of mono? Means single wavelength. Mono means single wavelength. Single wavelength light source only used in this purpose. Okay. So these are the conditions for obtaining good interference pattern. Okay. So once again I repeat. Two light sources of emitting light waves should be coherent. Two sources must emit continuous light waves of same wavelength or frequency. And the separation between the two sources should be small. The distance between two sources and the screen should be large. This is very important point. This you have to imagine how the picture will be observed in cinema hall. When you sit in front of the screen, the image will be blurred, but when you see the image at large distance of the screen, it will be good. Why? Because the source and screen should be large, and the observer will maintain this condition, then whatever the image on the screen will be observed clearly. So the best example, when you sit in the cinema hall at a far distance from the screen. And the next point is, to view the interference fringe, the background should be dark. So the same example you have to take in cinema hall. Whenever you clearly observe the image on the screen or you enjoy the picture, the background, that means the surroundings of the cinema hall should be dark, then only you enjoy the picture. Okay, because of that, that is the example of good interference pattern. And the next one is, the amplitude of light waves should be equal or nearly equal. The sources should be narrow. I already said that monochromatic means single wavelength. Single wavelength is nothing but single color. Actually, in our lab experiment, we have to take sodium vapor light that is yellow in color. So that is the one of the example of monochromatic light. And also we have another mercury light is there, but mercury is a chromatic light. So for chromatic light, example is white light, whereas for monochromatic light, example is any color light, yellow, green, red. That means these are example for a single wavelength light. So these are the conditions for interference of light. And the next topic is very important topic. This is very important question in view of our examination point of view. So here, the interference in thin films. First of all, what is a thin film? Thin film is nothing but a very micro centimeters thickness layer. Example, soap bubble layer, and also oil layer floating on the water. So such a thickness of layer is act as a thin film, and also the air between any two glass plates, that is also act as a thin film. So in this topic, we discuss about the interference in thin films by reflection. This topic we will discuss in the next session. Okay, thank you to all.